Hello, my name is Nick Davis with Team Davis Remax Premier Group. We live and work here in the Tampa Bay Area. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is determining market value of a home, whether you're purchasing or getting ready to sell the home. The process is basically the same. The first thing that we need to look at is the size and condition. You don't want to compare a 1,500 square foot to a 3,000 square foot home. Basically, what we do is we try to stay within 10% of the square foot of the subject property, meaning the house that we're putting an offer in on or the house that we're getting ready to list. Location. The location of the property is key. You don't want to look in a community where all the homes are custom built versus a community which is built by, one of the standard builders, because the quality of materials used is going to be totally different, and it's like comparing an apple to a watermelon. Like I said earlier, we're going to look at comparable sales. If a home has a 2-car garage, we don't want to look at 3-car garages. If a home has a pool, we don't want to look at homes that don't have pools or vice versa. We want to get our analysis as close to the house that we're trying to determine the value on. Make sense? Any unique features, like I said, swimming pool, whether maybe it's on a golf course, has a conservation view, things like that will add value to the property versus a house that, backs up to another home. Economic factors always play a part in the value of a property. And right now, the interest rate is probably the biggest thing that we have that's affecting the buyer's ability to purchase homes, because when the interest rate goes up, the buyer's buying power comes. And lastly, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to an appraisal. And an appraiser is going to do basically the same thing that we do, but it will be formalized, submitted to a bank for review. And then ultimately, it comes down to what the buyer's willing to pay and what the seller's willing to sell the home for. So let me show you in our MLS kind of what all of this looks like real quick. So here we are in MLS, and determining value of a property is the same whether we're working with a buyer or a seller. And for a seller, it would be, to get the list price. And for a buyer, it would be for what the value is so that we can make an offer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select active, pending, and sold. We're going to try to get as very specific as we can. So I'm going to do 33543. And right now you see we have 869 properties. Let's go to none for special sale provision, 864. And let's do single family residence. We're down to 513. So we're going to say that the house that we're trying to determine the value for is a 4-bedroom and 2 baths, but we're going to put plus, and we're going to put plus there. And we're going to say that the house is right at 2,000 square feet. So we're going to go plus or minus 10% on the square footage, which would be 1,800 to 2,200. Okay, right now we're down to 53. We're also going to say that this one has a pool. We're down to 6. Let's take a look at those 6 real quick. Okay, so we've only got 2 sales and the rest are all pending. So let's say that our property is actually in Meadow Point. So Meadow Point, as you can see, is a pretty big community. So we're going to say that ours is up in this front section. So we're going to do a polygon up here so that we get everything that is in there. Now, we've only got 2 properties, so we may have to go back and go 275 days. Gives us a few more solds. We may have to bring this down to 1,700 and go to 2,300. All right, gave us 7 properties. Okay, so all these properties are in Meadow Point in that section. So what we would do now is, whether it was for a buyer or sellers, we would look at what they have as far as updates or upgrades, roofs, newer ACs, whatever the realtor puts in there. And then we would narrow it down to, if it was for a buyer, what the house we were looking at had. And if it was for a seller, when we sat down with them, we would be able to say, okay, this house that sold for $565,000, it had, and I'm just going to flip through some of the pictures, laminate flooring. Looks like the kitchen was definitely redone. I haven't seen any carpet yet. The bathroom was redone. This is the master. Secondary bathroom redone. As you can see, some of these photos that people take are terrible. Brick pavers around the pool. The house sits on conservation. Okay. So that's what we know sold and was listed for $549 and sold for $565. But what we got to do is look back to the sold date. That was still during the craziness down here that we were experiencing. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how we will do our market analysis to determine the value, whether it's for a list price or if it's for a buyer ready to submit an offer on the property that they want to make their new home. Okay, so you saw how we did our market analysis to determine the value of a home. And like I said before, it's the same whether we're working with a buyer or a seller. We're going to do the same thing to A, determine the list price, or B, to determine what the offer amount could be on the home you're ready to buy. So hopefully you found this video interesting, and if there's something that you'd like us to discuss, make a video on, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section, and we'll go ahead and make that video specifically for you. And if you need some help purchasing or selling a home here in the Tampa Bay area, just give us a call, 813-300-7116. Talk to you soon.